option to it. And then aggro decks are available. You've got green-red monsters, green-red devotion. You've even got aggressive blue decks with mono blue devotion. So,
and we started out, you can see the my favorite sleeve right now from Legion Supplies right there, the double matte sleeve with the awesome Temple of Deceit starting out for Gerry Thompson. And this gray merchant based mono black devotion deck, he casts Thoughtseize, sees a bunch of good stuff over there. Like I see a Caryatid, I see a Burning Tree Emissary, a Nykthos, I believe a Pelucranos, and one card ever so slightly off camera, and that is an island.
Yeah, so Gerry Thompson, coming off a loss, wants to keep his hopes for top 8 alive, and he is going to Thoughtseize away Burning Tree Emissary, and I believe was that a Pelucranos?
That was a Pelucranos.
And Elvish Mystic going to bring the beat, knocking Gerry to 15 after those 2 Thoughtseizes in one turn. Sylvan Caryatid the play from Robert, and Prophetic Prism is the play from Gerry. Gets to draw a card off that, and now has access to at least three colors of mana: black, blue, and then whatever color he'd like.
The Prophetic Prism certainly helping Gerry be able to cast all number of spells. The Night Veil Spectre much easier to cast when you've got a Prism.
He could cast Esper Charm right now too.
Gerry lays a 4th land, and Erebos, God of the Dead. No life gain for Robert. Robert's deck doesn't have any main deck life gain, but that doesn't change the fact that Erebos can also be used for greed and for becoming alive at 5 devotion and having a huge, huge 5/7 body.
So Gerry plays Grey Merchant of Asphodel to gain back some of that life he's lost off of those Thoughtseizes and those hits from the Elvish Mystic. Devotion right now at 3, so Gerry back up to 16. And a second Grey Merchant is going to push Devotion up to 5. Erebos is now active, a 5/7 swinging in alongside a 2/4 Grey Merchant, and Caryatid is going to get in front of the Grey Merchant. Robert's going to take a hit from Erebos, it appears, and Gerry has gained even more life at this point. And wow, Robert says, I need to scoop him up. Check out this variance. All lands.
Well, and Gerry, after Robert shows his hand of all lands, Gerry grabbed his graveyard of the 2 Thoughtseizes and pushed the 2 Thoughtseizes like, yeah, that's right.
Right. Yeah, the Thoughtseizes probably had something to do with it too.
Now, this deck that Robert Graves is playing, he's 10-3 right now. It's very, very interesting. He's got Prime Speaker in the deck, as well as Prophet of Crifix, and his sideboard, a bunch of cards that are interesting. Witch Stalker among them. I can see Aetherling being valuable. Bramble Crush, a card that we're starting to see being used this weekend. Very good against Underworld connections. You can not only take out the connections, but better yet, take out the land it's attached to.
Yeah, that can be key. Gerry's deck, we've seen actually on camera, but if you had missed that, his sideboard, he's got Doomblades, he's got Lifebane Zombies, which are definitely coming in here alongside those Doomblades. He's got 2 Pithing Needle, another Erebos, not likely to come in because, as you mentioned, I think he's got 2 main deck Erebos, 1 in the board. He doesn't necessarily need to shut off the lifelink. I think he's probably okay with just 2. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but he's got a Pack Rat in the board to bring up the number of Pack Rats in the 75 to 4 copies, 2 Ratchet Bomb, and 3 Duress. So quite a few cards here that Gerry can bring in. I like the Doomblades and the Lifebane Zombies the most.
Yeah, I have not been excited by Lifebane Zombie in general, but that's partly been that there have been so few green or white decks.
Exactly.
But, you know, when you're fighting against them, Lifebane Zombie is a total monster. Coming down as a 3/1 probably can't be blocked because of Intimidate. Coming down, being a totally fearful creature, and then also ripping out the best green creature from Robert Graves' hand is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, as you saw the first game, Gerry able to Thoughtseize away a couple of threats, and with supplementing that with Lifebane Zombie, or even replacing the Thoughtseizes if that's the way he wants to go, he could totally just tear apart Robert's hand and leave him with mana dorks and lands, as we saw in Game 1. But Robert's hoping to have a different result this time around, of course, would like to at least get a little more action. I mean, the biggest, he did have one Polukranos, but other than that, it was Burning Tree Emissary that was taken by the one of the Thoughtseizes, so he still didn't have very much in terms of power in that game.
The black removal that Gerry Thompson is packing, very effective in this matchup. Really, Nylea, the only card that's immune to the removal that Gerry has access to.
Yeah, so what's Gerry do about Nylea? Devour flesh?
He can't devour Nylea's flesh unless Robert lets him.
Right.
Because there will either not be a creature for it to eat, it won't be alive, so to speak.
Right.
Or he could eat something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be, there's not many non-creature permanents that are going to contribute to devotion in Robert's deck.
Yeah, unlike Gerry Thompson's deck, where it's actually possible you could devour flesh on Erebos, because it might be made flesh by Underworld Connections and Whip or things like that.
Yeah, interesting kind of situation there, because one of the best ways to deal with the gods, or with indestructibility in general, is usually something like a sacrifice effect. But you make an extremely good point in that it's likely that there are more creatures on board, other options to sacrifice to cards like Devour Flesh or Far and Away.
Yeah, the gods themselves are actually quite hard to answer for most decks. There aren't very many ways to handle it. Detention Sphere, one of the few ways to handle it. Yeah, I love Gerry's sleeves. I use the same sleeves. They're just my favorite sleeve right now.
I'm a fan as well after seeing them the other night, playing with them.
And you see in his hand Temple of Deceit. He faces off against a really, I believe that's the first full art forest from, I want to say, Unglued.
So Temple of Deceit is the play for Gerry. He's going to go ahead and scry and pass back to Robert. Robert with a lone forest in play at the moment. Does have a basic island there. He's going to actually play a second forest, and it looks like
Voyaging Satyr.
Going for the Voyaging Satyr.
That's a card I actually like to kill. There you go. Dead
Gerry
Satyr.
Says, I'd like to kill it as well. Eat your Satyr.
Kill the Elf has always been a good game to play when you're playing against a mana accelerating deck.
Yeah.
There are very few decks where that's not what you want to do. And you can't kill as easily the the Sylvan Caryatid. Another Devour Flesh would do it, or you can just say, well, I guess that one stands.
Yeah.
I'll try to kill the Polukranos or whatever other problematic card comes down. Bramble Crush.
Yeah.
Boom, take that. You see Gerry disgustedly toss the 2 cards into the yard. He didn't even get to use them. And he says, well, I've got this Devour Flesh now. Get rid of your Sylvan Caryatid, gain 3 life, go.
Yeah, that Bramble Crush having a pretty big impact. Like you mentioned, doesn't just get rid of the Underworld Connections, but gets rid of the land as well. There you see it costs 4, destroy target non-creature permanent, kill the land, takes with it that Underworld Connections. And yeah, very, very nice play from Robert, or very, very powerful card in that situation.
And we see Rat face off against the Colossus, Arbor Colossus. Currently a 6/6, but without too much effort can easily become monstrous. If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here in the booth with Joey Pasco. This is SCG Live. You can see Arbor Colossus there to the left. Reach, monstrous for green, 3. Becomes a 9/9, and when it does so, destroys a flyer. Now, importantly, it says an opponent controls, so you can't accidentally kill your own flyer.
Yeah, and that's nice. Just that extra little clause on there to keep the card from backfiring on you. And that's important. I saw an Arbor Colossus holding off some Desecration Demons earlier, and some Night Veil Specters earlier in the tournament. They can become monstrous and destroy a demon, and also hold off further demons. So
it's huge. It's like a really, really powerful card. If you look at the art on it too, the towering over the trees.
Yeah. So Arbor Colossus does indeed become monstrous. It's a 9/9. Gerry's going to start swinging in with his rats. He's got 2. He's got 3 when he activates a Mutavault, and he's going to make a 4th copy of
That's
Pack
10
Rat.
damage.
So that's these Pack Rats may take over the game if Robert does not leave back that Arbor Colossus. They may take over the game anyway. Gerry may not have any hesitation about running a rat into the Arbor Colossus, but Voyaging Satyr also hanging out there.
Without a Nylea, Robert Graves is in the unfortunate position where he can't trample over either. So he hangs back just so that he doesn't get swarmed by rats. There we go. We got a better rat there. Ouch.
Ultimate price on the Arbor Colossus from Gerry Thompson, and that's 2 mana to take out a 5 mana card that Robert invested 6 mana into. So that's a nice little trade in as far as mana value.
Here they come.
4 rats from Gerry. It's a Mutavault and 3 pack rats. Robert trying to decide if he wants to cast Fog here, I think.
Mark Rosewater once said what he liked about Type 1, or Vintage if you prefer, is you can play all the rats.
Voyaging Satyr jumps in front of one of the pack rats, the copy.
And passes back.
Yeah,
not much time left for Robert Graves.
Yeah, he's already down a game. He's going to scry here off of the temple. He puts it on the bottom. The card in hand is a Forest, and he extends the hand, and with 45 minutes still left in the round, Gerry Thompson defeats Robert Graves here in round 14 of 16 of the StarCityGames.com Open Series, featuring the Invitational, coming to you guys live from Indianapolis. And I'd